name is Jennifer Buwersi, and welcome to another Artist Chat with Music for Your Inbox. Today we'll be talking with Nicole Yi Messier from Craftwork Collective about the mail art for this month, which is a detail from Ancient Futures, a textile and technology installation. So let me get Nicole invited and then we'll have our conversation. Hi, Nicole. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks so much for joining us today. So I was kind of introducing you. Craftwork Collective, of which you are one of the members, is the mail artist for this month. You made a beautiful postcard. I'm going to hold it up. So beautiful. It's from an installation called Ancient. It's a detail of it, which we will talk about more for sure. But I wanted to start out because I think when a lot of people think about artists doing work, they think of a person working kind of alone in a studio or something. But you guys have this collective, and I was really curious, like, what has your history been as a collective, and how did you come to work in that way?
Yeah, there are four of us in the collective, and we've been collaborating for years, and we kind of wanted to demystify the myth that artists work alone. To get big projects or any project off the ground, you always have to work with other people. And so we decided to form Craftwork as a collective to share skills and resources and make the work that we ultimately want to make as a group together.
That's really fantastic, because you're right, like any kind of behind the scenes of any kind of, like, especially the large scale work that you guys make, like, it does require so many contributions. So you're in the space of what I would really simply say, and maybe I'm wrong, you can correct me, of like textile and technology, and like the intersection of, maybe you would say, craft and technology. Can you talk about like your mediums and how you see them interacting?
Yeah, as a group, we're really interested in different craft mediums, but also exploring them through kind of a digital and technology lens. And we work a lot with different tools. I would say we're, as a collective, really interested in making interactive textiles. So there's a component that you can interact with, and mixing these two things that aren't often seen within the same space, and kind of thinking of craft as technology. The original word craft comes from like Greek lineage, and it does mean technology, and starting to bring craft more into the digital medium.
I remember reading something about your work that really struck me. What, in this line of thinking of craft as a form of technology that's been maybe like marginalized a little bit in recent, like, or in his, I don't know. And you had a really interesting description about how textile in particular was used to like communicate information. Could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting you say it's been marginalized. I think oftentimes craftspeople aren't included in certain art histories, but just overall archives in general. And so a lot of the interactives that we make or the sculptures that we make, we're doing a bit of storytelling behind them, and shining a light on kind of how textiles have always held stories and secrets across time and space, and making modern
Yeah, and
versions
there's a
of
really
that.
beautiful video you made that we've shared on our Instagram grid. People can go check it out. That kind of shows, it's like a walkthrough of Ancient Futures and talks about some of those relationships that you're drawing out. So I highly recommend it. It was so like thoughtfully made. Really, really helpful. Um, and maybe for people who haven't seen it or haven't gotten a chance to, can you like describe Ancient Futures, because it's a large installation, what it is, what the pieces are, and what people would see if they walked into it?
Yeah. So Ancient Futures is a triple woven installation that's woven with fiber optics. And you can walk up to the installation and tell it a story or a secret. It will take that audio, translate it from speech to text, and then do a sentiment analysis on that text, and then reflect the mood back in light. And the idea is that it's not just reflecting one message's mood, but that as this piece travels from different community to community, it will actually reflect like the overall mood of a particular space and community. And And because we're working with fiber optics and textiles, there's no like recipe to how to make a textile. In the video, you'll see there are a lot of swatches, different scale pieces, and that's because a big part of our process is prototyping and kind of letting the material kind of lead the way things will look. And so in that particular video, it's a showcase at CultureHub, and we decided to show kind of our process and the breadth of swatches that we've made over the course of a year that led us to making the larger scale interactive. And actually behind me, these are some swatches that we made in a workshop. And as part of Ancient Futures, we host workshops to try to bring the public into the making process. And we haven't done anything with the swatches yet, but the idea is that we'll make a piece with all of them together and hook it up to the larger.
Beautiful.
Interactive.
I have so many like small to big questions, so I'm going to try to remember them all. This will test my skills. So my first question is, and maybe this is just me being unfamiliar with this space, but when you say triple woven, what does that mean in terms of like, is it the style of weaving, or what does that mean?
Yeah, so I collaborate with Victoria, and she's the expert weaver, but triple woven is a type of weaving method that basically creates a cloth that has multiple layers. So if you look at that piece, there's multiple layers that are connected, and Victoria would have a much better definition. No, that's super helpful,
because I was wondering, as like someone who's not so familiar with the techniques in that space, I wasn't sure if it referred to like the number of pieces or the technique. So that's really helpful. So this idea of like layers and the like process of making it. The other question I had was, I would love for you to talk more. So you just finished, or maybe you're still in, electronic textile camp, is that right?
We're actually here. This is day 2, and we're in the gallery space, exhibition space. I could flip my camera and show it a little bit. So you'll see there's knitted sensors, there's a wall of the Ancient Futures textiles. This is a light up piece by an artist named Carrie Love. Electronic Textile Camp is a 10-day artist-led residency that takes place in Vicksburg, Michigan at Prairie Run Artist Residency. And together there's about 15 residents who come together, and it's a week of sharing through workshops and also making projects like together.
Artist community workshop. Beautiful. That kind of that leads me to kind of the third, maybe it's more of a reaction question, but I would love your thoughts on it. When you were talking about these things, I noticed this really like pattern. You're in a collective. The piece Ancient Futures is creating this community visualization, but also like interactive piece that really relies on collective contributions. Like it sounds like from what you said, it might not work as well if you didn't have like extensive input, like wide contributions. And then you also have this, this workshop that is about like community and bringing together. So it seemed like that's a really central pattern in your practice, in your work as a group, is this like bringing together of people and creating stories collectively. Does that resonate with kind of what you see yourselves doing?
Yeah, I think, working with e-textiles, so like electronic textiles, you are working with a lot of different mediums. So you could be working with code, conductive fabrics, and traditional textile techniques. And so that requires, if you were to do it alone, a lot of knowledge and a lot of skills. But working in community and with other folks who have different skills than you can make more, learn more. And that's part of the whole mission statement of Electronic Textile Camp is there's not one type of skill that each artist comes with. We might have someone who's a machine knitter, someone who's a software engineer, someone who is a weaver, all coming and sharing and working on things together.
It strikes me that the actual installation pieces could that Craftwork Collective has made could be these like static standalone pieces, but you've also decided to like have this community input. And you also
Hmm.
mentioned that you have like plans or you have brought this into different communities. What does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, when we say we've brought it to different communities, it's been in different exhibition spaces. So we've brought it to Vicksburg, Michigan. It was in Romania at one point last year in New York City. And the idea is that as it travels to different exhibitions or it's in different public space, it could capture a different mood and be like a type of archival tool that's
And are you
untraditional.
feeling like as you see it move through these communities that you're learning from the piece? I know a lot of times when I make work, there's this kind of looseness often that gives you like feedback as you experience. So have you found that you learn from the piece or from what it's telling you from it moving through these different community spaces, or have you noticed any patterns?
Yeah, I don't think we've sat with it long enough in any particular space to know a particular pattern yet, but we've always thought about the idea of, okay, we've collected all of this sentiment analysis and all these messages.
Yeah.
What else can we do with it, and what are other ways that we could embed it in different textiles? So maybe part of it gets machine knit or things of
Really
that
cool.
nature.
It's I think a lot of artists strive to create these kind of living generative works, and it's really fascinating how y'all have dived into that arena, let's say, and it's really, really neat. And I wanted to share again, because it's just been too long, the detail that we're sharing as mail art. Would you be able to talk a bit specifically about this image, like what we're seeing and what part of the piece, overall piece it is?
Yeah, so this is a textile swatch that Victoria wove, and we collaborated on the design together. And then the pieces that look maybe blue or purple are the fiber optic. And as a collective, we all have different skills. So our two of our other collaborators in Craftwork helped us figure out like the lighting system on the interactive. And this is a close-up shot from an exhibition or an open studio that was at
Very
CultureHub.
beautiful. And I really, there on the back, there is like an image of the full installation. And I also just really encourage people to go check out that video because with installations, it's so hard to distill them. So, but you did a beautiful job with that
Yeah.
video. So I really encourage people to check it out. I also wanted to just ask, like, what is the experience of working in installation for you, especially an installation that's interactive or and ever changing it and as it moves through these different places, what has that been like?
Yeah, I have so I've worked on many like permanent scale installations as a creative technologist. So there's always this the tricky part of making an interactive installation is how to get people
Yeah.
to interact with it. And for design work, a lot of times the interactive installation lives in a museum. It might be an educational tool or in a kid's space. So people really know to interact with it. And the thing that we've noticed is as we bring our sculpture into galleries and exhibition spaces, there's this like
Yes.
unspoken rule that you can't touch the artwork. And so that's been a big learning curve. Like how do we encourage people to, touch it, go up to it and look at it and
Hmm.
then speak
You're
to
right.
it?
I hadn't thought of like kind of gallery spaces being a real like there are rules. There's like a space with social rules and you guys are like beautifully kind of pressing against those rules, but it would also be a major challenge to get people to feel comfortable moving past them or through them. I've had similar experiences in concert because I'm a performer mostly. And if you are asking people to interact with you, they're like, I'm just supposed to sit here and be quiet, I'm pretty sure. So it's a big design challenge.
Yeah. There's lots of inviting
Yes.
people, encouraging them to.
Often in
Yeah.
the concert world, you'll you plant like you have plants who's like, hey, you're this is what's happening. You're gonna interact, help other people join in. That's really
Yeah.
fascinating. Is there anything else that that I'm missing that you would want to share about this piece or other pieces you're working on that are coming up?
this piece, we've shown it in a few places, but the kind of things we're working out with it are how to make it like a more
Mm.
ambient interactive, um, so that it's like a little more inviting in these
What do you mean by
spaces.
ambient when you say that?
Like right now, you walk up and you touch a screen to start to interact with it, but
Um,
maybe you just walk up to it and it starts to interact
oh
with
yeah,
you.
that's really
Hmm.
beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I'm gonna show it again because I just really love it. Thank you so much for contributing, to all of you for contributing your work that we got to share. And it's a really beautiful project, really inspiring, beautiful project and beautiful piece. And for anyone watching, if you want to have your own piece of this mail art, it's open now until the end of September. You can head to our website, grab a ticket. There's a film that comes with it by Phillip David Stearns, who is also an electronic textile artist. And the way y'all's pieces interact is really, really fascinating. So we're just really grateful to talk with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.